Hey everyone, happy 2025, and for my first video of this year, I will be reviewing Wicked, which came out a couple months ago, and I wish I had seen this before Mufasa. I wish I had seen this before Mufasa, because I noticed a few comparisons, but let's go ahead and get into this. This movie, when I first saw the trailer for it, I was like, I'm not sure that this is for me. And then I finally saw it, and the more I thought about the movie, I absolutely loved it. And wow, yeah, I thought this was a really damn good film. And Wicked, the original Broadway stage musical. I don't know. I never saw the original musical, but it was a novel before the musical, and it's funny because I was doing research for the original story of Wicked for this video, and the original novel that the musical was based on came out the year I was born in 1995. Yeah, like the original Wicked story. The novel itself was released and published in 1995, the year I was born, and I thought that was rather fascinating. And yeah, the music in this, I absolutely loved it. Like, I thought the choreography was so well done, and all the actors have amazing singing voices. Ariana Grande. This was the first I've seen Ariana Grande in something. This was the first time I've seen her in anything, really, in like movies or shows or whatever. And I thought she was fun, while at the same time kind of being that one kind of stereotype that I don't really like seeing anymore in movies and TV shows. That mean, popular blonde girl that you see sometimes in like high school related projects. And I just, I don't like that stereotype. I don't like seeing that kind of stereotype in movies and TV shows anymore. But, I know that's they did that on purpose, right? To make you not really like her character all that much, but at the same time, you enjoy her presence because Ariana Grande is killing it in this role. And then also you have Cynthia Erivo as Elphaba? Hopefully I pronounced that correctly, as, the Wicked Witch of the West, which she'll eventually become by the end of the story. And that story there, I thought was, you felt for her, you felt bad for her. She felt like an outsider. No one liked her. People just walked away from her just because she had different colored skin. And there's something to be said about that, within the story. There's dark underlying tones and more mature themes in this that are more prevalent in the novel that the musical was based on. And I thought that was really fascinating. There's themes of animal discrimination in this too. And I was like, oh, wow. I cannot believe that this story is tackling something like that. And it made me wonder, like, who the real threat is. And it kept me guessing. And eventually, we finally kind of get what the actual threat is, but at the same time, not really. And it's just really fascinating. There's no true villain, really. Everyone, I think, in this story just are doing what they can, and trying to have, in a way, delusions of grandeur, especially if you that famous song at the very end, Defying Gravity. I love that song. Like, I've listened to it a few times now, and I love that song, Defying Gravity. Oh my goodness. Like, it just feels so empowering, and I loved it. And also the relationship between Elphaba and Glinda throughout the story. They don't stand each other at first, they kind of hate each other at first, but through acts of kindness, they start to see each other, and they become friends. And I really like that kind of story. I love stories of friendship like this, because it makes, like I've said before, it reminds me of my friendship with Sean. And I loved that kind of story that was told here with Elphaba and Glinda and their journey to the Wizard of Oz in Emerald City. And I've seen the original film. Obviously, the original 1939 film is a Hollywood classic, and it always will be. Nothing will ever change that. The original film is a movie that I've seen quite a few times growing up, and I even saw the James Franco movie like back in 2013, and I remember really liking that, even though that was more of an action film and not a musical. And if this movie does well as part 2, Wicked for Good, which comes out in November later this year, this could start like a new film franchise, because the original Wicked novel had 4 sequel novels, and if these 2 films do really well, and they really are, they're doing amazingly well, critically and financially, and there are 4 sequel novels that could adapt to continue on from Wicked for Good, and I think that would be really fascinating if we see this story continue going forward. I love this movie. Another thing that I loved about it was the production, like the physical sets that they created felt the world feel lived in. And I liked one thing that kind of made me laugh was the name of the university that Elphaba and Glinda were attending. Shiz University. Shiz. Kind of a funny name for a college, but yeah. And I liked the look of Emerald City too, and the castle itself. It looked very colorful and green. And Jeff Goldblum as Oz himself, that's a fun casting. He kind of reminded me of Willy Wonka a little bit, but yeah. And it's a star-studded cast. Everyone has beautiful singing voices in this movie. Even Jeff Goldblum, funny enough. And the music, the choreography with the dance numbers and all of that was so well done. And the story itself, you could tell that the filmmakers cared about this production, and sprinkling in little Easter eggs of other Oz interpretations that we've had over the years, specifically the original 1939 film. And there's this one animal in this movie that they tease that has much bigger implications than you might think, not just for the original 1939 story of the original film, but also, like I was saying, one of the sequel novels to the Wicked novel, it includes a certain character that I'm not going to mention because it's a little bit spoilery, but it has bigger implications than you might think for potential more stories to be told in the future going forward after Wicked for Good. And that's a lot to look forward to. Oh my goodness. This movie kind of felt like when you first see Sorcerer's Stone for the first time, and it just kind of has this amazing world that feels lived in, and you want to be in it in a way, but at the same time there's a lot of dangerous stuff going on around the corner or behind the scenes, and I love that about something like this. I really do. I thought this movie was incredible, and like I was saying about Ariana Grande, I thought she was fun. At the same time, I didn't really care for her character for a little while, and I just thought she was so well portrayed with her character of Galinda, or just Glinda. And yeah, that one song that she sang, the popular song, that was funny. That was really funny. And wow, I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about this movie going into it, but I ended up absolutely loving it. It is really well done. There are a few things I can nitpick, like I was reminded of why I don't like musicals, because at the beginning of the film, before Elphaba is born, when the parents, parts of this movie reminds me why I don't like musicals, because when a characters says something and then they just burst into singing, and I'm not a huge fan of that, but at the same time, I get it. It works for stage musicals. It doesn't always work for musicals that are films or TV shows, but, it's okay. Like I said, there are things that I can nitpick, but this movie was so well done, and I absolutely loved it. And yeah, that is my review of Wicked, and I really do hope that they continue with this series after Wicked for Good, and adapting those other sequel novels like I mentioned, because there are some really dark stories in those novels that I would love to see adapted in live action, and potentially be like a 6-film saga adapting those novels. And that's something that I'm really excited for, because the world of Oz, I've always wanted to see more adaptations and an actual series of films of. I've always wanted this particular fantasy franchise to have a film franchise, because so many other film franchises are so big now, and the one that hasn't really had a film franchise is the World of Oz, and I really want the World of Oz to have that. I think Wicked is a really good first starter for a film franchise, and that's something I'm really excited for. So yes, this is my review of Wicked, Defying Gravity. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Take care and have a happy new year. Peace.